We're going to call it Three Blind Wines. Yeah, that's the name of it.
Am I going to be glowing? Glowing like the wine?
Hello, living legends. Welcome to Three Blind Wines, the food and wine game show where no one really wins anything, but two contestants get to taste three blind wines, weird, and then we pair them with a dish that I've chosen, and then they get to judge me on my food pairing. Today, we have Abbie Minton, beautiful wine professional here in Denver, and we have Justin Freeman, an absolute legend of the culinary arts, and also the executive head chef of Somebody People. So sit back, relax, get yourself a glass, and watch Three Blind Wines here on YouTube. I don't know.
My name is Abbie Minton, and I am a certified sommelier. Wine number one, it's got a really like honeyed, waxy color. Kind of looking for confirmation on the nose.
Color, I'm gonna say it's golden.
Not super aromatic. The main character I get is yellow apple.
I smell a lot of green fruit, a lot of green apples, a little minerality on the back ends.
This wine on the palate, it has a lot of orchard fruit, specifically yellow apple, a little bit of almost overripe Anjou pear. It's got a little bit of like a honey, waxy component to it, almost like when you open up a candy wrapper and it has that little like crust, like caramel component, but ever so slightly.
On the palate, I would say it's gonna be medium body. You still get the green apple. There's nice acidity on the outside of your palate.
On the palate, the acid is certainly really, really present, which makes me think that it's from a cool climate.
The color is a little bit darker. I'd say it's probably French.
It's hard to tell whether or not it's an older wine or whether or not it's something like a Semillon or Chenin Blanc.
Chenin Blanc? Question mark?
I don't know, my gut is saying that it's Chenin Blanc. The acid is just so continuous that I think it has to be from the old world. My other thought would be maybe Muscadet, but I'm gonna say Chenin from the Loire Valley in the $30 to $40 range.
Since it's French, it's probably expensive. I would say $28 a bottle.
Need some more wine. Stressed.
I'm dying to know what wine number one is.
We're gonna give it a good stir.
Okay, wine number two has a very bright red color, almost garnet.
Slightly translucent. I'd say it's pretty dark for a red.
Giving a lot of red floral quality out of the gates. I'm getting some rose petal, but also some bright red fruit, cranberry, lingonberry, tart. It smells tart.
Cherry cola vibes. Like there's a little bit of oakiness in there as well. Definitely dark fruits.
Wow.
Light tannins. Light to medium tannins, actually. It's still holding pretty well on my palate.
Palate is kind of a combination of tart red fruit, but also extremely dry. The tannin is, I would say, high on this wine, or maybe more like medium plus. I always just immediately think, well, it's not Nebbiolo, so it's probably not high. Acid is also high, which is hard to, or medium plus. That's an interesting combination.
A medium-bodied red wine.
On the palate, I get a lot of like earth, almost like potting soil, maybe even some like button mushroom component.
On the palate, oak, you get a little bit more like dark cherries as well.
It's got a little bit of funkiness to it too, like just a touch of Brettanomyces, like a barnyardy component, almost like fresh hay or just a touch of like manure, which sounds gross, but it actually really works in this wine.
Say if you were like walking through the fall, this is exactly what you would feel like.
Definitely taking me to the old world. I would say that this wine is probably from France. That's my initial inclination. Cabernet Franc comes to mind, Cabernet Sauvignon.
My guess is gonna be Italian.
To me, this is Cabernet Franc from the Loire Valley, somewhere in the $30 to $40 range.
I think this wine is an Italian Nebbiolo. I think the price is gonna be $35.
It's not really a game show, but I was like, oh, that'd be pretty funny.
Wine number three.
Let's go color first. It's definitely not translucent. Very dark red.
A little bit more ruby on this wine as far as the color. The outer rim is showing like a little bit lighter orange hue. So that's made me think maybe it could have a little bit of age on it.
I get a lot more smokiness. I get some hay.
Kind of some light fruit notes, red cherry, a little bit of tomato leaf.
I get cherries as well, more like cooked, slowly muddled cherries, where this one I got where it's a little bit younger, maybe less cooked.
Also some earthiness in there too, potting soil, a little like minerality component. I don't know quite what that is yet, but it's rocky, I think.
Actually pretty heavy on the palate. There's a nice acidity that hits like the parts of your cheek right here.
It has like a soft, kind of scratchy tannin profile to it. It's dry. It's almost like if you are drinking a cup of black tea and the tea bag sits for too long and you drink the tea and it kind of gives you that dry feeling up in the front of your mouth.
So my guess would be upper mountain region red, maybe an Italian or French closer towards the Alps.
This wine is definitely from Italy.
It's one of the two for sure.
Very classic bloodiness to it that I get on often Tuscan wines.
Definitely dries the front of your mouth out a little bit. I'd say this is a Cabernet Sauvignon.
Oh my gosh, this wine is just calling for like a big bowl of pasta. I think that it's probably Sangiovese from Tuscany. It's really tasty. I think it's probably Chianti. That's my. I'll get a little specific on this one, but really delicious. I'm gonna say probably in the 50-ish a bottle range, 50 to 60.
I think this wine is from France. I think it's a Cabernet Sauvignon, and I think the bottle would be $45. And it's something I'd probably put into my cellar and let sit there for 10 years.
This one is my favorite, wine number 3, certainly. It would be a toss-up between wine number 2 and wine number 3, but probably wine number 3.
What did everyone think about wine number 1?
It was very confusing. It was really textural and kind of like honeyed and had a lot on the nose, but then the palate was really light. So
Yeah.
it was kind of tough to, at least I thought, to kind of nail down what it would be.
I love this wine because I think it kind of drinks like a red wine. Like that's kind of why I put it into the lineup. A little bit textural, good acidity. It's got a little bit of a weight, but it's deceptive because
Okay.
the acidity
Can
kind
see
of
that.
cleans it up. Like a white wine acting like a red wine.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a cat dressed as a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely hits like lays on your palate, like right in the middle.
Yeah.
Like a light body red wine would.
What is the
What
wine?
was our guesses though?
Oh, you guessed both.
My guess
guessed
was
Chenin.
my guess was Chenin Blanc.
Mine was Chenin Blanc too.
Is it Chenin? This is Montenedoli Vernaccia.
Vernaccia.
Fabulous little winery.
Vernaccia di San Gimignano.
Elisabetta is the winemaker or owner, I guess you could say. Does a fantastic job with these wines. Like all the wines that she makes are amazing. I think it's probably one of the best.
I love this. I know I'm not familiar with the producer, but the region San Gimignano I absolutely love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really pretty.
Where does that lay?
Tuscany.
In Tuscany.
Yeah.
Wine number 2.
I thought it was tasty. I honestly couldn't really tell you what it was, but it was definitely like a medium-bodied, like grilled pork chop with like lentils. I would enjoy
Grilled
it.
meat's a great pairing call.
Yeah.
I love that.
I would really enjoy something like that with it.
When I tasted it, I got this great kind of salinity to it.
The tannins kind of like didn't hold up with the saline. I didn't get that.
Now that
All
you're
right.
saying that, I certainly get that on the wine.
Yeah. All right. Wine number 2.
Oh, amazing.
So a little Nero d'Avola,
Oh, no,
From Menfi?
Ah.
Marilena Barbera.
Classic.
Beautiful little wine. It's right by the coast, so you're getting this great kind of Mediterranean influences on this wine. So it's kind of, it's a warm area, obviously. Sicily's quite a hot region, but it's got this great cooling wind off the ocean, which kind of cools the vineyard at night to retain those kind of great fruit flavors and retain a little bit of acidity as well. So just a cool, really lovely wine. $21.
$21.
Yeah, from our dear old friends at Divino across the road. Great little bottle shop in Denver. Just a great little wine.
The funkiness is definitely what threw me off on this wine.
Wine number 3. Let's get into it. This seems to be everyone's favorite. All right.
This one was really good.
Okay, wine number 3 is a beautiful Chianti, Badia de Morona. Excuse my pronunciation of all the
Oh.
An amazing little estate. Has been around since the 1400s. Really old kind of vines, classic kind of old school Chianti, which I really fucking love. You know, I love old school Chianti. I think someone called pasta. I think you called pasta. Classic dish, which I
With
think
this?
is just amazing. Yeah, really, really, really sexy wine.
Would never know that it was 14.5 alcohol.
Yeah, no.
It's really well integrated. It's tasty. It was my favorite of the three.
Yeah,
It was my favorite of the three as well.
cool.
But I definitely didn't think it was Chianti. I thought it was like old school French.
I paired a dish with these wines,
Okay.
and you're going to judge me
On the pairing?
on the pairing
Okay.
to see if it worked or not. Went very traditional. Pasta Pomodoro. Here we're doing a little Sicilian style with a little orange zest and some Calabrian chili. The reason why I chose these wines, I've got a beautiful white, which is slightly textural, 2 reds. I hope they pair well. Let's see what happens.
Were you trying to pair it with one specific or with all of them?
Let's try and pair it with all of them.
Delicious.
Yeah?
Very good.
Yeah?
Ooh, a little spice. The white makes sense with this pasta,
Yeah?
totally, because the tomato is pretty rich and not heavy, but present. And I think the white kind of holds up to it.
After taking a sip of it, the spice really comes through. You really get some of the sugars from the tomatoes, the wine. You start to get like a little more of the funkiness of the wine, which is really nice. The slight orange in here brings out some of the characteristics of the wine, which is cool. Honestly, I would probably have sticked away from the second one. I just think it's a little lighter than the tomato sauce, and I think that you kind of lose out on it a little bit.
I would agree. I think that the first and the third, it would just depend on like what mood you're in,
Yeah.
whether you want to drink white or red, but this is full-bodied enough to hang with the pasta dish, and this is just classic.
I think those two work really
Well
well.
done. Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks, Sam.
Just in case you can use that.
Do we get
The
it?
pasta's delicious. So good.
Calabrian. The Vernaccia. I said it wrong. Vernaccia.
Wine number 3.
It's the other one.
3 blind wines.
Wines. See how they run.
You're a great director.